Hello everyone. This is Kavitha. I'm a women Fide master. I'm a 5 times a national champion. So today I'm going to take a session on opening principles. So before that, I'll get a little bit deep into uh, my profile. Okay, so I'm from Chennai. நான் வந்து சென்னையில இருக்கேன். நான் வந்து LM Chess Academy வச்சிருக்கேன். It is a Little Masters Academy of Chess. So I do both online and offline classes எடுத்துட்டு இருக்கோம். So இன்னைக்கு வந்து I plan to take a session in take off chance. So if you like to reach out me, you can reach out on the number which is given on the description. So இன்னைக்கு நம்ம பார்க்க போற டாபிக் வந்து opening principles. So you all know how to make the moves on the board. ஒரு பீஸும் எப்படி மூவ் பண்ணணும்னு உங்களுக்கு தெரிஞ்சிருக்கும். From then, what is next? So that is important. So only when you have a good opening of your space, நம்ம வந்து ஒரு good middle gameக்கு போக முடியும். So ஒரு கேம்னு பார்த்தீங்கன்னா அது வந்து opening, middle game and end game. மூணா it has been divided. So first let's get into the opening part. Okay. So see, first we have to understand the board. So the first, you could see this, we call it as a file, and this way we call it as a rank. So in the 1 to 4 is white's territory. This is a white's territory, and 5 to 8 will be black's territory. Okay, so if we are white, we have to try to get into black's territory. Then you see a line between 5 and 4. Okay, so this we call it as a frontiers line. So white irundhomna nammaloda basic aim eppadi irukuna, we have to develop pieces and we have to jump into the black's territory. Okay, so before that we'll know what is a center. So these 4 squares, that is E4, D4, D5 and E5. Okay, so these 4 are the center squares. So we have to control the center. Okay, so preferably with the pawns. So we have to control the center with the pawns. So which is very important. And after controlling the center with the pawns, we have to control, we have to develop the pieces. So we have to develop the pieces on the king side first. Okay, preferably the knight. So you have to develop, so we will control the center with the pawns, and then we will develop the minor pieces. So the bishop and the knight, we call it as a minor piece. So the knight, and then we'll develop the bishop, and then we'll go for castling. So this is king side castling. So this is a basic way to start off the game. Okay, so we'll see why we should control the center only with the pawn. Okay, the initial move. Okay, suppose for example, if you like to control the center with either NC3 and later if you want to put the knight to E4, this is also controlling the center, but your opponent can easily attack you and then you have to come back. Okay, so that is the reason we feel like controlling the center with the pawns are more powerful than a piece. Okay, so and controlling the center happens like because you control 2 of your opponent's territory. Suppose we'll play E3. This is you're controlling your own territory. So we have to control opponent's territory. So E4 or D4 would be a better choice, or even knight F3 or knight F3 is also a playable. And later you can control it with the pawns. Okay, so first we will control it. Okay, next we'll say out of the minor pieces. Okay, after the 2 minor pieces, it's obvious that we have to develop the knight first. Okay, so because see, the knight has only 3 squares to go. Okay, and we know like we have to play in the center. So this is a corner move. And when they play knight E2, it is blocking the way path of the bishop. Okay, so knight F3 is the better choice. Okay, So the knight has only 3 squares, and out of which we already know this is the best square. But for the bishop, it is not like that. It depends. Okay, suppose for example, if they're playing e6, for e4, if they're playing e6, so that time we will not play bishop to c4 because it is blocking the path. Okay, so based on black's choice or black's choice of pawn structure, we can move the bishop. We can develop the bishop either to b5 or c4, or after d4 we can play bishop to d3 as well. So we will delay little bit the development of the bishop on f1. Okay, so we control the center, and then we know we have to develop the minor piece. So the knight. Okay. So you may ask, like, why should we develop only on the king side? So it depends on where you want to castle. So that is the priority of the queen side pieces. Okay. So considering the majority, like we'll go with king side development, and we will develop the bishop, and later we'll go for castling. So these 3 are the most important part. Okay, and castling is the key. Okay, and if you delay castling, again there will be problems where your opponent will come and start attacking you. Okay, so would you be able to identify which is the weakest square on the chessboard? Yes, the weakest square on the chessboard is f7 and f2, because the king is only protecting these 2 squares. Okay, so our aim is to attack here. Okay, so once you move the pawn on e4 or d4, this square is vacant. So the king is little bit open. So opponent can come inside. So that is why we castle. And there are 2 kinds of castling. A king side castling, which we do it like this. And we also have a queen side castling. So that is like we move king to c1 and the rook to d1. Okay, so after castling, okay, so you know what you have to develop all your pieces. You have to go for castling. After that, what's next? So next is you have to develop the queen side pieces. And once you develop the queen side pieces, you have to connect both the rooks. So how do we connect both the rooks? We have to move the queen. So from here, we complete the opening phase of it. Okay, so from the opening part, like then you will connect both the rooks, and this would be an ideal position from where you can start off. Okay, but now we will also look at what are the certain the things which we should not do. Okay, see, many people, what they will do is they will play in the corner. They might play moves like a4, or they will play continuous pawn moves like this. Okay, so in the opening we should not make too many pawn moves. Okay, we should not keep on moving the pawns alone. So pawns are important. They are the foot soldier. They help us in opening up the space, but you cannot only attack with the pawn. So this is a wrong method of play. Okay, so pawns are needed, and the same way we need pieces. So moving only the pawns or will delay your development. So you need a good pieces as a backup to bounce for an attack. So that should be there. So you should not make too many pawn moves. And next is you should not move the same piece again and again in the opening. For example, suppose e4, e5, and knight f3, knight here. So again, you should not like move to the corner. Right now, we cannot move. The queen is looking. But either way, you should not like keep moving the same piece. Okay, so for example, like after g3 or bishop c5, again you move to h4, again moving to f3. So this will delay the development of other pieces. So So we should not develop or move the same piece. We should not move the same piece again and again in the opening. And the third one is we should not bring the queen out early. So many people, so we like to play with the queens. Yeah, queen is about 9 points and it's a very fascinating piece on the board. So we all love to play with the queens. But only a queen cannot deliver a checkmate. Okay, so a queen obviously needs the support of the minor pieces or the rook. So what happens when you develop the queen early? Okay, so now the queen is attacking this, so we are defending. But later, next move, black will attack you back and you have to come back again. So you are wasting a move. So when you waste a move, like you could have better developed any other piece. So that is why we say like you should not develop, develop the queen early in the opening. So if it's really demanding on the position, yes, you can do it. But these are the general guidelines. Just to rephrase it. So first one is controlling the center. So we know which is the center squares. So these are the center squares. Okay. And all our pieces should move, develop towards the center. Okay. So moving to the corner is a bad idea. Okay. So you develop, you control the center, and preferably we control the center only with mostly with a pawn. Otherwise, if you're controlling the center with a piece, your opponent would attack us and we have to come back. And the center will be grabbed by your opponent. Okay, so controlling the center with the pawns. And then you have to develop your pieces. Develop your minor pieces first. And preferably the knight goes first. And then, so we saw the reason why we will delay, little bit we'll delay, we'll see how black is making the choice of his pawn structure. And based on that, we will develop. So the bishop can be well utilized. Okay, and after development, and we'll go for castling. So these are the do's. And once you castle, and the next step is to like, you have to cross the frontier line. Okay, and there are certain don'ts. So which you should not do is, like you should not bring the queen out early. You should not move the same piece again and again in the opening. And you should not like make too many pawn moves. Okay, the initial stage of the opening is like fighting for the center. And whoever grabs the center will have the initiative of the game. So initiative is the key part. Because if we are getting delayed in the opening itself, then obviously our pieces will be lacking behind. So if you follow these opening principles, yeah, you would have a good middle game. இன்னைக்கு பார்த்தது வந்து opening principles பத்தி பார்த்தோம். So in the next video, we will watch out if suppose your opponent is not following the opening principle. So we should know how to punish them as well. So then only you can apply it over the board. Okay. So we'll see how shall we apply the principles, and same way when your opponent is not applying the principle, how to punish it. Yeah. Thank you.